Very good. Abba-dee-dee-doo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the family with
Mike, quote, Stretch Gelfand.
And Andy Brandt Bernard.
It says on my screen here, McHoward Galfano. What changed?
I like the fact that on the screen we see everybody's first name except for me. And
Except for you.
here it just says Gelfand.
Galfan. It all works out. That's an honor, I think.
It's a stage name.
I think that's because Tevin has never learned my first name.
Yeah, there you go. Is it Mick? No, I don't think it's Mick. It all works out in the end. But in any case, we're just now. I want to open the show. It's very, very important that we open the show with finally, after all this time, we were able to reach out to Brad Blanks and bring him back on the show. And I said, we'd like to get him once a week now. And it's going to have to be on Thursday so you can come in early and be on with him.
I just can't miss Brad.
I know. He's phenomenal.
I communicate with him all the time, but it's usually in the form of him texting me and asking me, who do you like tonight in the basketball game?
Right.
But he's such a great guy.
I just don't understand how he's not nationally syndicated as a guest on every show in America.
He is a huge talent.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, just having him back for that 15 minutes was unbelievable. It energizes the people, puts everybody in a great mood. I mean, Brad is as good as it gets. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I've never had a conversation with him that didn't leave me a little happier than before.
I agree. Absolutely. He's just one of those guys that gets you all fired up. And he's a very honest person, because I'm not kidding you. 6'5", weighs about 250. When he was in my convertible at the top down, sitting in North Minneapolis, I thought he was going to die of a heart attack. He was terrified. It was hilarious.
He kept saying, "Where are the Aborigines?"
Yeah, because he's from Australia, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who might not know that. But yeah, it's one of those situations where it took us a while to track him down again and all the rest of it. But he said he's going to come on, and it's going to have to be on Thursday because of McHoward Galfano. That's all I have to say.
He's, I had the most fun I've ever had with him, of course, was in Las Vegas.
Oh, God, yes.
Because that was like being in the sports book with him. And here's Brad, 6'5". Here's me, about 5'5". And I'm saying, Brad, don't bet that horse. Don't bet that horse. And of course, then he's betting the horse, right? Yeah. I'm saying you're going to get $2.10 back if you win. Doesn't matter to him. He just wanted to cash the ticket.
Just make something.
Just because, that just didn't matter. He just wanted to be a winner.
I understand 100%. So yeah, we're like I said, thanks to Tevin reached out to him, got him back on the show, and I just having him back, such magnificent memories of my earlier career with him. There's no doubt.
I remember the first day he was on the show.
The first day he was on Q?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, who is this guy? I can't understand a word he's saying.
Well, that was true. That was part of it. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, he was one of those people that I just got so lucky. And I think it was Scott. And I can't remember who it was in New York that he was on their show.
Right.
But I think it was my buddy, Scott.
It was Scott, yeah.
He said, you got to have this guy on. You will love him, Tom. So we had him on, and I've loved him ever since. Let me put it that way. He just so happy, wonderful guy. He just a great guy, very interesting, very funny, very smart, all of it.
And he took that show businessy thing to a new level too.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely right.
Because we used to have people on the show who were good about giving us the latest Hollywood gossip, but we could have all gotten it on the internet 5 minutes earlier anyway.
Yeah, he retired, didn't he? Did Mike Evans retire? Somebody told me.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
I think he finally did retire.
And he was good. He was fine. But this is and of course it's Kristen has she's right there with everything.
Kristen's wonderful.
Knows everything.
I would be honest with you, and I'm not trying to be sexist here. I'm just making a statement that I think Kristen's a lot better looking than either Brad Blanks or Mike Evans.
Yeah, it's close, but yeah.
It's close. Yeah, it's real close. No doubt about it. Yeah, she had to take the day. I can't remember why. Andy, you remember why she was taking the day off today?
I have no idea.
I don't have a clue.
Probably
either.
on set as usual.
Yeah, that's probably what it is on set. She'll be back on tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. So that is the deal. So any big headlines in the day meeting your eye there, Mr. Gelfand?
Oh, there's big headlines, but they're the same headlines as we saw last week. So I don't know. I'm interested in the fact that the Star Tribune site, now they've got banner headlines pretty much every day about the Timberwolves. It's like, okay, nobody wants to see the news anymore, so we'll just give them the Timberwolves. And obviously there's a lot of interest in it because it's probably all pretty much done, anyway, but computers select what the big headlines are these days.
That's true. Yeah, that is true, isn't it? It's just, I don't know. It's kind of sad. And you were in the business forever. And I just used to, it started with the Sunday paper, of course, but then it got to be every day. I loved sitting down reading the newspaper, but it just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of changes there, and they're not all bad, but it's just the thing that we have to understand and keep telling ourselves is the Minneapolis Star Tribune, while it's not nearly as good as it once was, still it's one of the elite local newspapers in the country.
That's what I hear. Yeah,
and one of the reasons is it's not owned by a hedge fund, not yet anyway.
God, hedge funds, are they destroying America?
Oh, I think they already have.
Well, yeah. Instead of they destroyed America. But yeah, Andy, do you even remember that, sitting down reading the newspaper or that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I remember you bringing the newspaper home and me reading the funnies, but
yeah.
Newspapers had a major impact on my childhood for sure.
Yeah, because I was really into reading the newspaper. Like I said, that Sunday edition was always a special treat every weekend. And I understand that everybody can go on the internet now and see whatever they want, and it destroyed the newspaper business. And hey, look, network television is being destroyed by streaming. And now, of course, network television has become streaming television. It's a whole different world now than it used to be. But I mean, it was one of those situations you'd read the newspaper in the morning, you'd go to work, you get home, read the afternoon newspaper, and then you'd sit down and turn on the television and watch the latest from CBS, NBC, ABC, and then eventually Fox as well. The world is completely different now.
And why is that?
I guess everything is just so readily available that you don't have to go out and get a newspaper anymore. You can just look at your phone and
just do it online.
I mean, let me put it this way. I did an interview on the Twin Cities live show last week with Ben Lieber and Elizabeth, and I did it on my phone.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go and be, put on camera. I didn't have to. Well, I was still in Florida at the time last week, and nobody would know. I don't think anybody knew I was on my phone because it looks just like you're on camera.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a whole different. I mean, local television still has a place, but I don't know. When we sit down and watch stuff, it all appears either on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. There are Paramount, Peacock, all those stuff, all those places. But I mean, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime have almost everything you'd ever want to watch anyway. I mean, including all things entertaining, the news, all of it. They got it all covered now.
Yeah, and eventually they'll have what I watch, which is sports.
Yeah, that's coming big time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to watch anything without paying for it.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about that is, and I'm glad you brought this up. I'm really glad you brought it up because the most expensive channels are the sports channels. And I mean, I don't know why they're doing that, but it's true. I to watch the Twins, I had to jump back on what the hell is it called? DirecTV.
Yeah, that's right. What I keep DirecTV just basically so I can watch the Twins games.
Watch the Twins games. $100 a month.
$100, yeah.
$100 a month to watch the Twins on TV. Used to be free.
And why is it that it's not free anymore? I forget. Oh, I know, because of the hedge funds. Yes.
Because of hedge funds, yet again.
Yep. Yeah, because and that, of course, it's also because of the stupid decisions that, among others, the Twins made, because they
Yeah,
decided
true.
they were going with this hedge fund, despite the fact that everybody knew that the hedge fund in this case was going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, that is true.
They
and
didn't
it
care.
did.
They got to, because it's all about just instant gratification, and that that's not just for the consumers, that's for the purveyors too. They want that money right now.
Isn't a hedge fund basically, isn't it based kind of on going bankrupt eventually anyway?
Yeah,
They take
well,
all the money.
yeah, certainly in many cases, yeah.
They take all the cash and then the thing goes under and nobody cares.
That's what they did to radio.
That's what happened to radio. Radio's, well, I mean, let's look at it this way. As soon as the hedge fund place bought KQRS, I knew it was over.
Well, that was their business model, was to destroy the station.
To destroy the radio
Yep.
station, and they did.
Yeah.
I believe now they have like a 1.2 share.
Wow.
When you and I were there, they had a 35 share in the morning.
So remind me, which is better?
Yeah, by almost 35 times.
Mm-hmm.
No, the minute they walked in the door and I sat down with them, I said, this is not going to go well. And the number one thing that happened that day is the guy who ran that hedge fund had played golf with me about 10 years earlier.
Mhm.
And he was very upset that I didn't remember it. He was very pissed off at me that I didn't remember him. It's like, sir, do you understand that I play golf? Back in those days, I did anyway. I don't anymore. But I used to play golf with advertisers all the time. So I was playing golf with, I would say in an average month, playing golf with 20 people, 25, 30 people. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to remember all of you?
A
little hard to do.
If we had a revolving door,
Yes.
instead of the typical front door at the radio station,
Mhm.
I literally would have been leaving the station forever when they were coming
Yeah.
into the station. It was like the
No, I
same
understand.
day.
Yep.
And that was just sort of an accident. Not entirely, but sort of an accident, because really I had planned to retire a few months after they'd come in.
Yeah.
But I just kind of had to move it up a little. But yeah, so I never knew any of those people. I missed them by a day, and
You were so lucky.
yeah.
God, you're lucky. And the guy's younger brother's a bigger prick than he was.
Well, it's hard to believe.
I know it is. It's very difficult. I mean, that's the one thing that I do love about my life is I don't worry about saying things like that about people, because if you're an asshole, I'm sorry. I'm going on the air, going on podcast and whatever, and say you're an asshole because you are. I mean, whatever. But it's just, I really wish it hadn't happened. Like local TV news still does okay though, doesn't it?
Oh, I think it does. Yeah,
Yeah,
it must, because it keeps expanding.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the local stations carrying ABC, NBC, CBS, does that work at all anymore? Because everybody's got streaming now.
It must still be working to some extent.
I
anyway.
guess, yeah.
The thing that always gets me is when I'm in my back room where my exercise bike is.
Oh yeah.
And I got the TV there that's not hooked up to anything. Basically, it's just a broadcast TV,
Yeah.
because it doesn't. I don't get my satellite package with that.
Mhm.
And I'm so now I get all these sort of like the classic UHV stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the local stations, they all operate like 6 different channels, UHV channels, essentially.
Yeah. Yep.
And not surprisingly, KSDPs are the best by far.
No, and it's true. It's not just
No, I'm not. I don't work for them. I don't know.
No, you
Yeah.
don't.
But yeah, and so I have my choice now. I have my choice of the network stuff. But it's like, okay, what am I going to watch? Well, let's see. I could watch America's Got Talent,
Oh God.
or I could watch an old All in the Family show.
Oh God. Now, that was a tough choice.
Yeah, tough choice, but it also shows you how things have changed.
There's no question about that. Andy, how do you look at that in your age group?
You mean like the death of television?
Yeah, the death of television. Exactly.
I mean, there's still a lot out there. I just am not as interested in TV as I used to be.
Oh, you aren't? See, I didn't know that. I had no idea. So you don't watch a lot of TV anymore?
Not a lot. I mean, especially since having Ethan.
Oh, I suppose.
We
yeah.
always like our thing was always, we'd watch a show, maybe an episode or two a day, and then once it's over, we just kind of stopped watching TV for a while.
Yeah, I suppose that's
I'd rather
true.
play a game or read on my phone or something like that for the most part.
Does Ethan always get that excited when he sees somebody he hasn't seen in a while?
Yeah, usually.
God, he and I, for some reason, I don't know why it is, but he and I clicked from the second he started walking and talking. He became Bop Bop's best friend in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He and I get along really, really well. He will come and sit next to me, and I put my arm around him, and we watch Tumble Leaf, or we watch this or that, and he makes him so happy. Is that unusual now, Andy? Do you think that your mom and I love you, and your sister, and your children? I mean, I was talking to people about one of the great things about coming back to Minnesota is being around both families, all three families. When you talk about your mom and me, it just. Does that? I mean, Gelfand, you've always been very close to your children.
Yeah, had my three boys over on Sunday. We were depending on your point of view, we were either celebrating my birthday or, in my case, lamenting it.
Lamenting, sure.
But they were all there, all my three boys. And it's great. It's such a treat for me to have all three of them.
Absolutely.
And the thing about my boys, and it's not a good or bad thing, it's just a thing, is that they have nothing in common with each other.
Oh, I understand that as well. Andy and Alex have very little in common, don't you?
Yeah, honestly, we do.
Yeah, very little. And you wonder, growing up in the same house, how that happens. But then the outside world steps in, and they change their views on a lot of different things.
Yeah. It's and so they get along fine, but it's not like they don't argue or anything. But they don't really see each other that often. So it's sort of nice for me just to see them see each other too.
No, I understand that 100%. Family. I know in your situation, Andy, that your family is very important to you, but is family as important as it used to be, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Unfortunately,
what do you think, Mr.
I don't
Gelfand?
think so.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, most of the people I know are the thing they complain about the most is not being able to see or be with their kids enough.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still that. But I think aside from that, I think for most people, no, families get torn apart for the same reasons, unfortunately, that people everywhere get torn apart.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing about Thanksgiving, and you don't want to get into an argument with people and all that stuff. But that goes on in families too. Everybody's been affected by that polarization.
It has. It's true. I was invited to a Thanksgiving dinner one time. This guy kept talking about, my family loves your show. They want to meet you. Is there ever going to be a time you could come over to my house so you could meet my whole family, all the rest of it? I said, we'll try to work it out. What finally worked out is, I could, because they, for some reason, celebrated Thanksgiving in the morning.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, a little before noon. So it was like 11 o'clock, something like that. They celebrated in the morning. So I said, ours isn't until 4 o'clock. So I could come by and meet your family. Since you brought up me coming over on Thanksgiving, yes, I could do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I get in the car, and I'm going to meet all these people I've never met before. They're huge fans of the Q morning show when you and I were there. So I walk in, and everybody's very, very nice. I did notice Uncle Bill, or whatever his name was, had a few.
Oh, sure. There's always an uncle who's had a few.
It's always an uncle who's had a few. And I was about two people behind him in line for the 11 a.m. Thanksgiving breakfast, which was supposed to be a dinner, but it was at breakfast time. And the uncle that was two people ahead of me vomited on the food. Spread that spray when you try to keep your lips together so you don't vomit. sprayed all over
God.
all the food.
You're not supposed to vomit until after the meal.
Exactly.
The timing was terrible.
He just sprayed everything on that table. I
Oh.
will never forget it.
I don't imagine Uncle Bill got invited the next year.
Yeah, I don't know because I wasn't showing up again. I can guarantee you that. We're not gonna.
How many seconds did it take you to get out the door?
It was not too. Boy, look at the time. I'd like to stick around and schmooze, but I just can't get it done. Sorry. Yeah, I'll never forget that. As a matter of fact, it's a whole different setup.
The story that I've told this story, but since we're on point here, so the first time we had sort of a multi-family Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was over at my in-laws, and my in-law, my wife's grandmother was there. She was still alive.
Okay.
And then my parents came over, which is always a challenge. And but everything was going fine. But there is a clash of culture there.
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm in this discussion with my parents, and we're going back and forth. We're disagreeing, but in a kind of a not in a bad way.
Right.
It's just what my family, like a lot of Jewish families, we believe in the Socratic method. Well, we like to disagree with each other.
Yeah.
It's how the truth arrives. So
Yeah.
so we're talking about stuff, and my wife's grandmother looks up from the table and she says to no one in particular, "Why can't these Jews ever get along with each other?"
No, she was Protestant.
Yeah. I would say, one of those things. Yeah.
One of those. I don't think she was Catholic.
She was not Catholic.
No, I didn't think so. It's too close to being a Jew. For
Yeah,
her.
I don't know what their religious thing was. Now I know that my grandmother, whose grandmother that was, my in-laws were they were Episcopals.
Oh, they were.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's not much different from being a Protestant. It's just that
it's
just that if you sin, you can just pay and it goes away.
You pay up and
It's like being a politician.
Oh, being a politician. We've been talking a lot about that lately. It's just.
And my grandmother, she was the one who was the devout Episcopal, and my grandmother she was great. She was fantastic.
Really?
Oh yeah. She was a social worker.
Okay.
And I've known a lot of social workers. She was probably the only social worker I've ever known who never said a bad thing about her clients.
Really?
Yeah.
So she was really into her job then and loved doing what she did.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's why she would be that way. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
She wanted to help people.
She wanted to help people. And why do you think most people go into that? Because they make themselves feel better about themselves? Is that why they do it?
I think that most of them, I think, are idealists, at least
least
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're getting rich.
No, there's not a lot of dough in that. There's no question about that. But it's just, it's nice that people. Are there any people like that anymore? Or are they all gone now?
No, there's still people like that. Yeah.
They still want to serve humanity.
Yeah, there's still some. I mean, it's probably if you do well, you could probably make a lot more money being, say, a therapist. Which is not much different. It's different, but it's the same. I think it attracts the same sort of people.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Most of the therapists I know, some are rich and some are poor. Most of them are just getting along, and everyone I've known, I think, wanted to help people.
That's nice to hear. Kind of rare, though, isn't it? It all shows up in the same mailbox, basically.
Well, I think, who knows how it ends up. But I think that look, if there are jobs that you can seek that are going to make you a lot of money, right? And most people say they go into those jobs for a little different reason. They go into those jobs because they want to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think that when you go into something like therapy is a good thing. Social workers, which is, as I say, kind of there's a lot of synchronization of those two professions. So that, and the people I knew when I was working for newspapers, they didn't sign up to get rich. That's for sure.
No, not with the newspaper.
And they,
Other than Sid.
well, Sid, yes. Sid was a businessman first.
Sid was a businessman, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that was a little different. Every time I ever said anything about Sid in the newsroom, someone would say, but he's the hardest working guy at the paper. And I'd say, yeah, to what avail?
What are you going to do?
That was
Sidney.
Sid.
I miss Sidney. Yeah, he was a piece of work.
I think I've learned eventually to forgive him for being responsible for all those people who has threatened to kill me.
Yeah, a lot of them did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Well, Sid would come up to him, don't say anything to Gelfand. He's bad. He's bad. And meanwhile, Sid's, of course, sending them lavish Christmas presents. and in the case of Joe Namath, getting into the shower with him.
He actually did that.
Yeah, he actually did that. That was
I
like
heard
his
about
finest
that.
moment. He was going to get a scoop. So he went into the shower with it. And at least I think that's why he went into the shower with it.
Well, you
Yeah,
would
we
hope,
don't know
yeah.
for sure.
We hope that's probably true, but and then Chad, his son, and I have become really, really good friends over the years. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
God, I haven't seen Chad in person in a while, though. I've been talking to him on the phone, but I'm gonna have to go out and grab. I can't go to the Lincoln Dell with him anymore. So what the hell?
Yeah, and I guess you could go to the Crossroads. I don't know anything about the new ownership, though.
Yeah, somebody told me that they sold.
They did sell.
I always liked that guy. He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah, it was Kevin.
Kevin, yeah.
Kevin, he was the greeter, and he was the guy who
Yep.
worked 16 hours a day.
Yes,
Kevin
he
Hill.
was. Kevin Hill.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
Really nice guy.
I saw him on the last day that he worked there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I was just enjoying my matzo ball soup, and he comes up to me and he says, "This is my last day here," and I just about spit out the matzo ball.
Did you have the whole thing in your mouth?
Well, for me, it doesn't take much.
I suppose. And you still love matzo ball soup, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
God, it's so good.
Good stuff.
We got now basically we've got Cecil's in St. Paul. We got Crossroads has been sold. Is it still as good?
I don't know. I haven't been there since they
Oh, you
changed
haven't?
ownership. No, that was
Okay.
like about 2 months ago, but I don't get there very often. So
You and I should probably get over there.
We
one
should get
day.
over there, and
We
then we
should.
can do a Yelp review.
Yes, we could do a Yelp review. There you go. But what is it about? I've never asked this question because I grew up in North Minneapolis, and Plitman's Deli was a huge thing when I was a little boy.
I remember Plitman's.
Absolutely. There's always been a deli. Deli food's always been part of my life from the time I was a very little boy. What is it about the deli that is, there are different foods. There's the matzo ball soup and all the rest, but you're not going to get that anywhere else that I know of. Now, regular restaurants never picked up on the matzo ball soup thing, did they?
I don't think so. I don't recall
No, not
being.
really.
But why not?
That's a good question because everybody loves matzo ball soup.
Everybody.
Yeah, even people who call the matzo balls dumplings like matzo ball soup.
Dumpling. They do look like a dumpling. That is true.
And some of the people think it grows on a tree, but they still love it.
My favorite thing is when they put noodles in with the matzo
Oh,
ball.
I like that.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
In fact, sometimes if I get some matzo ball soup to go, I'll cook up some noodles at home and throw
There
it
you
in there.
go. But are there any other delis around? Really true delis like Crossroads and Cecil's? Or are they the only two left?
There's a couple of I know at least I think there's still one in St. Louis Park that's sort of like an uber orthodox delicatessen.
Where is it?
I think it's where the Brothers used to be.
Brothers Deli used to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where the hell that would have been.
Well, right like on I would say on Minnetonka Boulevard in Joppa.
Oh, so it's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get over there because I haven't been there.
Yeah. But I was in the place, if it's still there, I was in there like very early on, and it wasn't great. But I think if they're still there, I'm sure it's much better now. But,
So you think it didn't stack up to the other spots?
well, it was just probably it just wasn't what I was used to.
Andy, do you remember the Lincoln Dell?
No.
Not really.
No, I don't.
They had a takeaway counter that was unbeatable. The food that you could walk up there and you'd walk along that entire the casings and all that stuff. The food that you could take away from there was just wonderful.
And you know who I really miss is Sherman.
Sherman,
Remember Sherman?
I do.
He was the cutter.
The cutter.
Hard to find a good deli cutter. They can save you a lot of money. if you're owning the place, but if they're really good cutters, because they're slicing up the corned beef, the
Right,
pastrami,
right.
and but they're doing it just right. So they're saving a bad cutter would just throw away some of the good stuff too.
One of my favorite stories about the Lincoln Dell on Minnetonka Boulevard, ladies and gentlemen, which I don't even know what it is anymore. Is that one of the?
It's a realty company there now.
It's a realty company. There you go. Okay, yeah, there you go. But I used to live right across the street from that Lincoln Dell, over those apartments right across Minnetonka Boulevard.
Yeah.
And I do remember the first time I ever took Jeff Passolt to the Lincoln Dell on Minnetonka Boulevard. We're sitting there by the front window in a booth, and this friend of mine, I could see him coming from the back because he's never met Passolt. And I could tell by the way he's coming over that he wants to meet Passolt. And what I mean by that is this man walked on, his legs did not work. He would have to walk with crutches, and he had enough strength to push off on the crutches, but then he'd swing both legs through at the same time.
Sounds like polio.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But it took him quite a while. I saw him coming. It took him quite a while to get over to our booth on the crutches and all the rest of it. And this guy, a great friend of mine, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but a great friend, just loved the guy. And he obviously wanted to meet Passolt. So he comes over and he makes a statement. And I look up at him and go, would you get the hell away from our table? We're having a private conversation. You just get lost, pal. Good God. Passolt looked at me like I was the devil. It was just wonderful because he had no idea I knew the guy.
Yeah.
The guy was a friend of mine, and therefore I was taking a shot at him just for the hell of it. But Passolt had a look at his face like, oh, because he's a TV guy, right? And if you're telling, people,
oh yeah,
turning them away from your table for a TV guy was a horrible idea.
Oh, yeah. You find yourself in the gossip column the next day.
Yeah, exactly right. But so many great memories going to that Lincoln Dell over there. So we got Crossroads still, and we got Cecil's. So that's good.
It is interesting that it seems like every culture has its own meeting place.
Oh, I think so.
Like it would be for black people, it'd be the barber shop.
Yeah, the barber shop was always big.
Yeah.
Oh, it still is.
Yeah,
still
right. Is. And for Jews, it would be I guess it would be the deli, and then Catholics, the bar, right?
The bar would be for the Catholic, especially the Irish.
Yeah, right.
The Irish Catholics big on the bar. There's no question about it.
And then for the Unitarians, it would be the library.
That fascinating. They're really that interesting.
Well, they're not that interesting, but they're always looking for new insights.
God, that whole neighborhood that I used to live in. Remember the guy that had the monstrous tree house in his yard?
Yeah, and he also sold used cars from his driveway.
Oh, that's right, from his driveway. I forgot.
So every time you went by there'd be a new car in the driveway with a sign on it, how much it cost.
I forgot all about that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and eventually I think they force him to cut down the treehouse.
They did, yeah,
because it probably wasn't real safe at some point.
Boy, it was on about 8 different levels.
Yeah. I think it was a challenge for the housing inspectors. So do we inspect the treehouse? They couldn't quite figure that out. But yes, that's that property is still there, and every time I go by there, I just my brain thinks there's going to be a car in the driveway with a sign on it.
Oh, I understand that. But that's another one of those spots that is just totally gone now, ladies and gentlemen, because you would go over and have a little early dinner at the Lincoln Dell, and just walk down the street a block or two and go to the St. Louis Park Theater.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that was great. That long gone. How many years ago did that place close?
That's quite a while.
What's it called?
The St. Louis Park Movie Theater.
It was the theater where the only movie they showed for the last 20 years was Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah. How many times can you watch Fiddler on the Roof?
But it was a nice Jewish movie.
I guess, but for 20 years, same movie?
I kind of miss it. Andy, you're looking it up?
I mean, the name St. Louis Park Movie Theater isn't going to get me
No,
anywhere.
that's going to get you.
Tell you that much.
Yeah.
Well, it was on Minnetonka Boulevard, and what was the cross street? Orchard?
Well, the cross street would have been, it probably would have been Monterey.
Oh, yeah, it could be Monterey. You're absolutely right. It was on Monterey and
Minnetonka Boulevard.
Minnetonka Boulevard.
Yeah, it
But
was
it was
right
just-
right next to the Tombstone Company.
Yeah, exactly.
Would that have been the Park Theater?
Yeah, St. Louis Park Theater, the Park Theater.
It's
that's
just
exactly
called
right.
the Park Theater.
Yeah, it used to be the St. Louis Park Theater, but then it became the Park Theater. That's right.
Let's see. What
Been closed
happened
for
to it?
many years.
It's going to take a second.
I think they would have been better off.
1980.
1980.
Oh
wow.
my God, 44 years ago.
I would have said last year.
44 years. Well, that does make sense.
That
so.
is shocking.
The last showing was a double feature of Casablanca and Play It Again, Sam.
Oh,
What? At the Park Theater?
the Park
Apparently.
Theater.
That was their last showing, and then they closed up and
Oh, that's
tore it down for some sort of apartment building.
Oh, it's torn down now.
for an apartment building for the elderly.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. It's been there a long time. Yeah.
But it was one of those experiences where you literally could just park your car. I lived right across the street, so I didn't have to worry about that. But
Mhm.
but you would have this magnificent kind of early dinner over at the Lincoln Dell and just had laughing and joking, running into your friend. Danny Berenberg was always there
Yeah.
and having a great time with Danny. I miss Danny. Danny's still around, isn't he? He lives in Florida. I
Yeah,
think.
he's in Florida. He's been in Florida probably for 30 years.
Probably about 30 years. But
Yeah.
always a great guy to me.
Oh,
no
he was
question.
great. He was, and we couldn't have a poker game without Danny.
Oh
He's
yeah,
the
I
first
suppose.
guy you'd invite because he brought the party
He
tray.
brought the food.
Now, the hell with Danny, but he brought the deli tray. Yeah, Danny was a good guy.
Yeah, there was a 7-Eleven there. That was
Yes.
kind of right down the road too. But you would walk over. I can't remember the street that I lived on over there. Was in an apartment building over, just literally straight across the street from the Lincoln Dell. And you'd walk over there, have this magnificent early dinner, always with matzo ball soup with me because I loved it. There's no question about it. Probably a corned beef sandwich. That was a lot to eat, though. If you had the matzo ball soup and the sandwich, that was a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of food, a lot of calories.
A lot of calories.
And there were
Yep.
there was some kind of cholesterol thing in there. I can't
Might
remember.
have been.
Yeah, you walked out of there with a lot more lipids than you came in with.
The one thing about that theater I will never forget is they always were playing Woody Allen movies. It was always a Woody Allen movie,
Yeah.
which was great because that was before all this stuff happened. I guess he's not looked upon with a lot of love anymore.
No. It's some of it is. I think people got tired of the 50-year difference in the ingenues.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably Woody should cut that out. And then, of course, there were the lies that were told about him by Mia Farrow.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
she passed them on to to the kid who claims he's a journalist.
The kid.
Yeah, well, he was a kid. He was their kid,
Right.
Mostly her kid.
Mia Farrow's kid.
Yeah, and then he spent much of his career just basically slandering Woody Allen.
You know what's so great about that is you look at Mia Farrow, and she was not a great actress. She was an attractive woman.
Yeah,
But here's a woman who was with Woody Allen and Frank Sinatra.
And Sinatra.
It's
Yeah.
like, what?
Well,
That's Frank Sinatra and Woody Allen. Could you be any further
She's
apart?
got diverse tastes, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. So.
well, but I can tell you this: I've had girlfriends, and then eventually, of course, they weren't my girlfriend anymore, and it always hurt me deeply if their next boyfriend was like a 6'8" black guy.
Yeah,
And
that'll do it.
Come on, yeah.
You just had to swing the other way, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. now, if they went on to marry, they all got married after we broke up.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, that's why I always
Okay.
said my role was to foam the runway.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I suppose. Yeah, that's very, very true.
And so they'd go on, and the ones who I knew I'd had a happy relationship with, they would marry somebody like me. They'd marry a little short Jewish guy who was
Uh-huh.
pretty funny, and I always felt good about that.
Yeah, because it just try to match you.
Polar opposites, no, I took that as a dagger.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
No question about it. I still run into your ex-wife about every 2 years at the St. Louis Park.
Hey, so do I.
Do you really? You run into her over there? That's every time I see her. She's at the St. Louis Park Byerly's, Lunds and Byerly's now.
Yeah. How come you and I never run into each other there?
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I'm always in there probably about 11:30 in the morning. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be there then.
You're not happening, so
No.
it's later, like an early evening thing.
Well, no, I like to go there about like 2:30 in the afternoon because
okay.
because there's hardly anyone there.
That's
then.
true.
And that's the best time for me. But yeah, the morning is just I'm not if I can avoid the mornings, like other than this, I pretty much try to stay inside.
I can understand that.
You know, I gotta get all the I just got to get all the dopamine cooking.
So you're in a good mood.
Yeah, and in the morning, you know, this cheers me up. But normally in the morning, that's a time for, you know, unfortunately, probably for just I wouldn't say it's a time for depression. It's more a time of introspection.
I suppose that's
Yeah,
true.
introspection is a horrible thing.
Now we're going to have to cover some sports. We only got about 15 minutes left of the show. We're
Mhm.
going to have to cover some sports because you are a Mike Gell fan.
Well, I am, and you know, usually it's funny because I still run into people and they say, "Hey, you're going to be at the track this year?"
Oh yeah.
It's like I've been at the track in about a decade at least.
You haven't?
No,
Why?
well, because
You bet online.
no, I enjoyed working there,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed being around the Sampson family. But the track is for one thing, it's not like I could drive there. You know,
It's a yeah.
I
that's
can
true.
drive maybe a block or two. That's about
Block or
it.
two is
Yeah.
about it.
I just fire the car up. I aimlessly drive a few blocks, or to Punch Pizza, whichever is closer.
Punch Pizza.
Yeah, and
Is that the one right there by the where Great American Music used to be in that same
Great
complex?
American Music. Yeah,
Remember
now there's a Walgreens.
There's a Walgreens there now.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
where I'm talking. So you eat at that Punch Pizza.
There's also a Punch Pizza right around the corner from us right now.
From here?
Yeah, and
Where
they
is
put another one in, another Punch Pizza in at the West End.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but it's pretty much new thing. Yeah.
I've not driven by it yet. Did they ever fill up that old country western place that was so huge? Let's tie.
place
What's
was
his
that?
name? Oh, what was that? He was a country singer that owned the bar.
Oh yeah, that's the guy who died recently.
Did he die?
Yeah,
What was his name?
cancer.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Tyler.
It was
What the hell was his name?
ah,
Toby Keith.
Toby
There you
Keith.
go.
Right.
Did he die?
Yeah, he
Toby
died
Keith died.
very
I didn't-
recently.
I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Oh
that
yeah,
was-
in February.
Yeah, he had cancer. Yeah.
Died of- he must not have been very old.
Stomach cancer.
Yeah.
How old was he, Andy?
He was 62.
Oh, I knew he wasn't very old.
Stomach cancer at that age, yeah. It's I mean, it could be bad luck, but most likely alcohol.
Yeah, that's true.
I imagine he did have a sip or two.
I don't know enough about him to say either way, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, let me run this
He's
by
the
you.
I love this bar guy, so you know.
Yeah.
But he lost his ass in those
Yeah.
restaurants.
Well, he
They-
probably made that mistake
We
of
had
putting his
one.
own money into it.
Didn't we have one like right here?
That's what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
It's still empty, I think. I think that space is still empty.
I remember
is
we all went over there right after they opened,
Yeah, we did.
and the food was
Absolutely.
delicious, but it wasn't the food I think anyone else got.
Yeah, maybe not.
Let's see, that was at 1623 Park Place Boulevard.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there you go. It's
Yeah.
about
What
3
is
blocks from
there?
here. 2 blocks from here.
Yeah, no, that's got to have something in it, right?
I don't.
Oh, there's got to be
I
something.
don't know.
There's
Let's see.
something everywhere there, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a hot ticket area.
It's probably one of those franchise restaurants
Yeah,
because
could be.
there's quite a
I
few
don't-
of them around there.
I don't know if anybody's in. Now that was 6 months ago, but I drove by there about 6 months
Huh,
ago,
really?
and there was nothing there then.
You know, my favorite Toby Keith moment was when he started going after the Dixie Chicks.
Oh, he
You
did.
know, they're un-American and all that stuff.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
And the Dixie Chicks, of course, fired right back. And so he while they were going back and forth at each other, she one of the things she said was, you know, the guy's not talented. Anybody can say boot up my ass. 'Cause remember that was the
Yeah.
big song. I'll
Yes.
put a boot up your
Put a
ass.
boot up
Right.
your ass. Yep.
And so she, Natalie Means, was the lead singer,
Lead singer.
and Fireball. And she said anybody can write boot up your ass. And Toby Keith came right back and he said, yeah, but I did.
Anybody can do it, but I did do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good argument.
I thought it was a great intellectual debate. I mean, that's like a Lincoln Douglas thing.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Very, very high tone, no question.
So everybody's talking about the Timberwolves now.
I did want to ask you about that.
And nobody will be talking about them after tonight.
So you think they'll lose?
Oh, I don't really know. It's 50-50 as far as I can see.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
If Karl Anthony Towns has a great game like he did in Game 4 when they were down 3-0, then I think they'll probably win.
God, I hope so.
But if not, then it's just going to be Anthony Edwards dribbling the ball for 90% of the time, and and they will lose.
I suppose that's probably true. Boy, we got the sports right now in this market's interesting because I thought a lot of people told me, because I wasn't paying a lot of attention, but they told me they thought the Timberwolves might win it all after they won the first 2 rounds.
Oh, I think, everybody thought so.
Because everybody thought they're going to win the championship after that.
After
Dallas
they beat Denver, on.
Yes, exactly. And then they just got their ass handed to them by Dallas for the first 3 games.
Yeah, well, you got, Luka Doncic is he's the best guy. I mean, he's the best offensive player there is. And then he's got, what's his name? The Holocaust denier.
There's a Holocaust denier?
Oh yeah. Tyree. Yeah. Tyree is a Holocaust denier.
Whoa.
They got rid of him at Brooklyn because he didn't really fit in too well with the fans in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn's going to be a problem. Yes, absolutely.
And, and he basically was talking a lot in those days about, how the Holocaust never happened. And then he was he was liking all the neo-Nazi things online. And so they thought, well, it's he might help us win, but nobody's going to show up. So
where did all those skeletons come from and those decaying bodies that they dug up? If there was no Holocaust, where did all those people come from?
Well, you'd have to ask Tyree about that.
Well, Tyree is the one that would know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand. Have you ever been to the Holocaust Museum?
Oh, man.
The stacks of little babies' shoes.
Yeah.
That all were massacred in the Holocaust. I mean, why would you deny the Holocaust? What's the point of denying the Holocaust?
Well, it's because you hate Jews.
Because you hate Jews.
Yeah, there's no other reason. I mean,
I don't see any other reason.
But they have sort of been normalized. Now they're having lunch with the president, the former president. That was a big thing.
Who was that now?
Well, what's his name? The rapper Yee, as he's now called.
Oh yeah,
and he brought along a guy who likes to talk about how much he loved Hitler. And he
loved Hitler.
Yeah, and these two came in and had lunch.
Wait a minute. This is a black man too, or is it a white guy?
No, these were white guys. I mean, the other guy was white. Obviously,
the other guy was,
obviously, Yee is not white.
But he's not white.
The other guy is, I believe his name is Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah,
so
you
he's a Spanish guy.
Look him up. I don't know what he is. All I know is that he loves to talk about what a great thing Hitler was and how we should all be grateful to Hitler. And he's one of the comments he's made is that basically what he said is that when we have a perfect country, there won't be anybody left except Christians.
Oh, is it going to be nothing but Christians?
Because that's really the spirit of this country. That's what made us great.
Oh, is it the Christians?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I
don't really understand why the people would think. Well, Joe Kennedy was a big fan of Hitler. Joe Kennedy loved Hitler.
No.
That's kind of disappeared over the years now that he was a big buddy of Hitler's, and matter of fact flew over to meet him several times and all the rest of it, from what I understand.
Just like Henry Ford.
Henry Ford was another big Nazi guy.
And of course Lindbergh.
And Lindbergh from Minnesota's own.
Yeah. I think they both got medals from Hitler, didn't they?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I do think. I don't understand that whole situation. I
think it started mostly with appeasement.
Yeah.
And it's not a very long trip from appeasement to just outright hatred.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
That you got a lot of people in this country. It was interesting because Mitch McConnell the other day blamed all of this, and I think he certainly doesn't take all the blame, but he blamed Tucker Carlson for this thing in this country where people love Russia now. It's a big thing to rush.
People love Russia.
Yeah,
I didn't know Tucker Carlson loved Russia.
Oh yeah, he's been over there, and he did a softball interview with Putin. He loves to talk.
That's right. Yeah,
loves to talk about how great Putin is.
What is that now?
I just have no idea.
I don't understand. What the hell is that even about? Tucker Carlson's disappeared from television pretty much, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think pretty much. I think he's most of his stuff now is on X, as I recall.
Oh, it is. It's
Yeah.
on. It's not even on television anymore. It's on a
Yeah, the former Twitter
social media deal.
Because I think Elon Musk loves to have him there. Elon Musk, Elon Musk is always liking these semi-Nazi.
He
tweets.
does.
Oh yeah.
God.
Yeah.
What is that?
Explain
it to me.
Well, I don't really know, except for the guy considers himself to be the greatest genius in the world, which he obviously is not.
Who, Musk?
Yeah, because he controls. There was a time when he was the richest guy in the world.
There was, yeah.
I don't believe he is anymore because he lost a lot of money both on X and Tesla.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think he never thought there'd be any competition at Tesla.
How would you think that?
Well, like I say, he thinks he's the greatest genius in the world, but he apparently didn't account for that.
I have a question for you. Is there a news person on local news is fine, no question. But is there a person on national news you can even watch?
I think that the broadcast networks, for the most part, their anchor people are pretty neutral. I don't, I watch because I'm usually on my exercise bike, so I'll flip around to all three. And if somebody's doing a story on a mudslide in California, I can turn to the other ones, and they'll also be doing the same story at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
So there's not a whole lot of difference between those guys. I love the show that David Muir puts on.
David Muir, is that ABC?
That's ABC.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does a great show, and it's fun to watch. Yeah, because they really stage it well. The problem is that they about 2 minutes is taken up with the start of the show, where they basically tell you every story they're going to cover.
Oh yeah, and so you don't have to watch.
And my feeling is, why don't you just cover the stories instead?
I would agree.
So, but he is a great entertainer.
I don't get a chance to watch him much of the anchors. I just wish all of the anchors had not gotten so political. Cover it all.
Well, you're talking about cable.
Yeah.
They're all political, yeah.
Oh, so none of the people on ABC, NBC, CBS, they're not political?
They're trying to play it down the middle of the road.
Well, I hope so.
Because their viewers are not of any one particular ideology.
Well, you would think their job as a news reporter would be cover everything and not have your favorites.
Well, yeah, you can only cover 4 stories.
Yes.
Because by the time you get done with the intro and all the commercials.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of commercials.
Well, what they do is they front load the news. And then after the news, that's 12 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's probably about right.
And then after that, it's 1 minute of news, 2 minutes of commercials.
Yeah, that's true.
So you pretty much don't need to watch it after the first 12 minutes.
I can't remember if I was watching CNN or Fox, but I don't remember. But they ran 7 minutes of commercials in a row per break.
It's amazing.
7 minutes of commercials. It's what?
Now, usually that indicates that they're not getting as much money for the
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I think it's true that both of those channels don't have anywhere near the viewers they used to have.
Yeah.
CNN, I know, has dropped way off. But then again, the problem with CNN, there's only a couple of the, far right places, Fox, and there a couple other ones.
Well, there's 20 of them. Newsmax and
Newsmax,
and there's America something or other.
News Nation, I think.
There's a few of those, and then you have the Sinclair Network.
Yeah,
and they're far right, but they sort of try to pretend they're not.
Oh, do they really?
And they're of course they're on broadcast stations because they own 50 broadcast stations.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
yep.
It's interesting that we're talking about Elon Musk. Now he lost half of his sponsor money in the last year or so.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, they all just went away because of all this neo-Nazi stuff and all that crap.
Why is he doing? That makes no sense.
Because it's what he believes in.
It's amazing. I was the first person that owned a Tesla in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, many years. Was that 20 years ago now?
Wow.
I think it's 20 years ago. It's maybe 2005, 2004, 2005. I had it for 1 year, did that thing called bricking, so I got rid of it, and I never bought another one. And I'm kind of glad I never bought another one now.
Yeah.
Because at first it was very exciting and all the rest of it. And he wasn't political at all back then.
No.
But as soon as all the money piles up, you have to know what I think.
Well, right. And because he then he didn't see himself as an entrepreneur. He
Right.
saw himself as a genius.
Yeah, he's only a genius.
And that's a
right.
problem
That's
always.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, and even, I mean, it's very sad, but even Alex Jones has lost a lot of his sponsors. Well, actually, I think he was his sponsor.
He was his own sponsor.
Because he just sold vitamins.
Yeah, I think that's right.
He just lied and lied about, well, everything, but that meant he lied about his vitamins. And who knows how much money he still has, even though he's, had to pay billions of dollars.
Yeah. They took him to court for what reason again?
Well, it was because of the
school, wasn't
school shooting, which he said never
Shady-
happened. Yeah, they were government actors.
Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook. Yeah.
There you
government
go.
actors.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So
Government actors were doing it?
yeah. So
what about all the graves and everything?
government graves?
Oh, government graves? Okay.
Yeah. And so some of the victims, the parents of those children got together and sued him, and they got billions of dollars, but whether he'll ever actually pay it, even though we know he hasn't.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, that's
stuff.
going to do it. Another great Thursday show, but we're gonna have Brad Blanks.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to come in early once we lock him in.
Oh God.
There's no question.
Yeah, I miss him every day.
Brad is phenomenal.
He's a great
He's just
entertainer.
So great.
He's always got an upbeat attitude.
He does.
And
Yep.
believe it or not, I like that in him.
Yeah, you don't most people.
I don't need a lot of people to be doer. I can be
You got
doer
that
all
covered?
by myself.
You got that covered, man. No question.
That's why I
about
would hate myself. If
I
there was
don't
someone
think
just like me, I would not like them.
it. That's probably true because I think most people are like that.
I
And
guess.
if there was another person just like you probably wouldn't like them.
I used to be.
There's a lot of
unique.
people who are the exact opposite too.
Yeah, that's
Who are the
true.
only people they get along with are people who are just like them.
That's true.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I have fun a lot of the times, but I don't talk about it because it's not my brand.
Yeah, true. All right, Pally, we'll see you next Thursday.
Great.
Thanks a lot. That's going to do it for the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow.